It's time to get into the betting with Tommy Rockcliffe. We're not going too well at the moment, but we won't talk about that just yet. Rocky, I want to talk some golf, mate, because we're recording this on Monday. We've just watched Bryson DeChambeau win the US Open. I believe you met the great man a few weeks ago in Adelaide. How was he?
Yeah, outstanding. That was the night I claimed to have built the foundations at Port Adelaide. So we're in great form. He was a champion. He sat for a couple of hours just chatting about footy and life and sport. And I think he's probably one of the most humble champions going around. He was outstanding. And old dummy spitter Rory McIlroy out of there. He was gone before I think Bryson had got off the green. So couldn't have gone to a better person, and a massive win for him.
Great finish between two guys that have been quite inconsistent over the last couple of years. But enough about the golf. Let's get into the footy. Only 6 games to choose from again this week. Another short round. And there are a handful of teams that are on the bye this week. My Hawks being one of them. Collingwood and the Western Bulldogs. Pretty simple question for you, mate. Who do you think benefits the most from a week off?
Yeah, good question. I think just looking at it as a whole, it probably has to be Collingwood, just with their injuries and whatnot at the moment. I think it'll be a good freshen up time for them to get those players right, have a week off, get back into it. Again, it'll be good for Hawthorn though as well. The young team, they've won 6 or 7 of the last 8, and they're just on the right path at the moment. So it allows them to freshen up as well. They get West Coast out of the bye, which you'd imagine they'd probably get done, pending how West Coast, you just don't know what you're going to get with West Coast. They're certainly a better team at home than away, but you'd imagine Hawthorn will win that. And the Dogs, well, the Dogs are just so inconsistent. They have been for a number of years now, but the Bont, he doesn't train all week and comes out and gets 3 Brownlow votes. Wouldn't be surprised if he polls 6. He's had 30 and kicked 3. He just dominates, doesn't he? Best player in the competition.
The flu game.
The flu game, well, he's normally a lock for our multis, isn't he? For me, for 2+ or 25+, but he's a champion of the game.
Let's talk Collingwood really quick, because Sunday's game against North Melbourne, absolute classic for all the wrong reasons. The forward line's struggling. They're struggling down back. They're allowing a lot of inside 50 entries. And it's become pretty clear that when they can't score off turnover, they're a different side. Are they a genuine top 4 team, do you think?
It's hard to get a gauge on them. Like, they've fallen in against North Melbourne, who are probably the worst team that we've seen since 2000. So it's hard to get a gauge to fall in the way they did. They've got injuries, which I think you can give them a bit of a pass for, and they sit 3rd on the ladder. So it's hard to knock them too much, but I'm not sure they are a top 4 team, but I'm not sure there is anyone in the competition that's a top 4 team besides Sydney. You look around them, Essendon, I'm not sold on them. The Giants, Geelong, Port Adelaide, Fremantle, Western Bulldogs, Gold Coast, Melbourne, Hawthorn, Brisbane. I don't think any of them are genuine top 4 teams this season for various reasons, but all they can do is continue to win games of footy, and that's what they do. Collingwood, they probably didn't deserve to win that. I've never seen probably a worse umpiring decision. How that wasn't 50. That got paid 2 weeks ago on the Gold Coast, where the player feigned to go, and pretty much did, and still got a 50-metre penalty. You had 2 guys run 5 metres past the mark and not get a 50-metre penalty, but that's a different topic altogether. That they fell in against one of the worst teams I've seen in the competition, so I'm not sold on Collingwood.
You love to give the umpires a good clip. You never miss an opportunity. It does explain the value on offer, though, in the market. So you can still take $2.25 for the Western Bulldogs to make the 8, $3.50 for my Hawks to make the 8 as well. So a lot of good odds still available on the Neds betting front. Let's get to the Tom Rockcliffe Cup. Brizzy takes on Port Adelaide on Saturday afternoon this week. Lions are genuinely looking like a dark horse right now, coming off 2 pretty impressive wins. They're kicking goals finally. Port Adelaide, on the other hand, trending in the other direction. Another pretty woeful day against GWS on Sunday in front of the Sticks. Can't kick straight. We saw these 2 sides meet last year in the qualifying final. Brisbane won that, I think, by about 48 points. Joe Danaher, 5 goals that day at the Gabba. Are we going to see a similar story unfold here, do you think?
Potentially. I think Brisbane are coming in with a better form. There's no doubting that. Port Adelaide, They've lost to the Giants, who, again, they're in sort of no man's land. We don't know what to make of them at the moment. They're hot and cold in games, but Port Adelaide will be disappointed with that performance on Sunday afternoon. Short turnaround, 6-day break. Brisbane, the other way, they've got an 8-day break. Whether that plays into Brisbane's favour, I think it potentially does. Home ground advantage for Port Adelaide. So it should be a good game. Seen Charlie Dixon, he got 3 weeks in the sample today as well, so he won't be out there. So it makes that forward line, how's it going to function? Again, you said Port Adelaide's so inaccurate in front of goal. I've mentioned it a couple of times, frustrating team to support and follow because they do so many good things and they just let themselves down with their inside 50 entries, or their shots are coming from really poor positions. So it's going to be a great challenge for them to get up and about for this game. Brisbane Lions, they're good patches are as good as anyone in the competition. Does a Willem Drew try and shut Lachie Neale completely out of the contest? We've seen him, Winhagen go to him and have a decent impact. The good thing about Brisbane on the weekend was they had their one wood taken away from them, which is stoppages. They dominate stoppages, normally score from them as well. They got beaten up badly by St Kilda around those stoppages, but they found a way to be comfortably in front. St Kilda came at them. Concerning thing, though, for Brisbane is that they're getting opened up defensively. So if Port Adelaide can get their ball movement going on Saturday afternoon on their home deck, they potentially kick a good score against the Brisbane Lions. But I wouldn't be going near that game if I was a punter out there. I couldn't lead you in one way or the other.
It is a tough one, and it's interesting you talk about the stoppages there because St Kilda actually won the midfield battle, mainly because they chose to tag Lachie Neale. Do you think Ken Hinkley's going to do that?
I think so. I think Willem Drew, he's certainly tried to do it in the past. Cam Sutcliffe and different guys have gone to Lachie Neale. He's so hard to stop, but I think Willem Drew probably gets a job. If not him, who else do you go after? I think it just has to be him. I think Lachie Neale's he's the Brisbane Lions barometer around the footy. He's so clean and one touch, and his ability to find people in space is what sets him apart. So I think he's the one that they will go after, and I think he'll have some pretty close attention.
Some good insight there from you, mate. Should be a very good game on Saturday afternoon. Let's get into the multi. We'll recap last week. Unfortunately, I got us off to an absolute stinker. Back in the Lions to cover against St Kilda. A little bit stiff. Line was about 27.5. I think they won by 22 or something like that in the end. I also had Port Adelaide to cover against GWS on Sunday. No good there. You took Will Hoskin-Elliott 2+ goals. I think he only had the one. And then you had Dan Houston 25+. That was a big win for you because he finished with 35. So well done.
Yeah, so we got 1 from 4. So we're going well. We're in form.
Yeah. All right, this week we're going to Carlton head-to-head. I'm taking the Blues to beat Geelong on Friday night. I just think Carlton, coming off a couple of very impressive wins, you're getting $1.60 for them. We just need a win, so a little bit of value there to get us started. And then I've also gone the Swans 1-39 in the second Battle of the Bridge game. Both those sides, GWS and Sydney, started pretty slow last week, so I think the Giants could keep this interesting in the first quarter, like the 1-39 play instead of the line. You'll go on player markets again, Rocky?
Yeah, I'll stick to the player markets. I like this one. I think Zach Merritt against West Coast Eagles, 30+. He'll probably get the most attention, but I think he'll get off the chain. At home there, and another one that I like as well, Lukosius 2+ goals. So depending on his matchup, I think King sent a bit of an injury scare through the Gold Coast Suns with a bit of a knee jar at training over the weekend. So Lukosius is going to have to kick a decent score if there are any chance, and I think he'll get 2.
I think we've had Lukosius before in our multi, and he's been good to us. So to recap, we've got Carlton head-to-head against Geelong Friday night. I've gone Sydney 1-39 against the Giants. You have Zach Merritt, 30+ disposals against West Coast, and Jack Lukosius 2+ goals. $13.05 for that one. She'll be available in the special section of the Neds app.
Let's have another 4 ticks, eh?
Let's hope so, Rocky. Thanks again, mate.
Good on you, Ryan.
What are you really gambling with? For free and confidential support, call the number on the screen or visit the website